All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. So we'll just give it a few minutes for people to pop on here, and we'll get started with an MJ sector review. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in about 30 seconds, so just bear with me. Just give it a few seconds for people to jump on. All right, so we're going to get started. Thanks for joining us for today's live stream. In today's video, we're going to do a MJ sector review. We're going to be discussing the Cannara Biotech stock and their infamous for their new Gelato Mint, the tribal brand, if you've seen that in the SQDC, but lots of great reviews. So we'll look at that stock. We'll go over some news and events, and we'll look at the Canadian and the US sector. So before we jump in, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. So jumping right into the news and events for today. So we saw that government-run cannabis stores in Quebec, New Brunswick post profits. That was a couple of days old, but I thought I would share that with everybody. So starting to see the Canadian government-run stores posting profits after a slow start out. That should be good in terms of, the overall LPs and just sales trending upwards. We saw that from last month's cannabis report in StatsCan of the recreational sales, the highest ever. So 1/3 of Canadian cannabis users consumed more during the pandemic. Another that was published about 6 hours ago, so you can check that out. But I wouldn't doubt it for a second. And we're going to take a look at the Love stock here now. So there wasn't really much news on the day, but this is a stock that somebody in our group shared with us, and I wanted to do a quick video on this. So we're seeing some crazy reviews. I just want to bring it up. It's pretty funny. There was some, let me see here, where are we at? I can't find it now. Give me 1 second. Anyways, not seeing it. So just bring it up here. Gelato Mint. Apologies, I thought I had it ready to go and not seeing it there. So just take a look at some of this. Like, that's pretty insane. We're seeing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ethos, but I've actually had these seeds before, and they get it from the same supplier. So you can check out Ethos Genetics. It's really cool, but they're growing some significantly craft, nice looking stuff, and it's just blowing out at the SQDC. I watched this video here. If you speak French, you can go check this out. Shout out to, I can't remember his YouTube name at the moment, but you can go check out his video. He basically calls it the new king at the SQDC, and everybody's talking about it on social media. Everybody's saying it smells and tastes amazing, and it actually has a fantastic high. So I can't wait to try it. Let me know in the comments if you've tried it. But apparently they just restocked on Tuesday at the beginning of the week, and they're basically selling out. And people are saying that it, blows Broken Coast out of the water. So this is Love Cannara Biotech Inc. and it's holding up quite well here while SPY and the overall broader market is trending down. So you can see here we had the low at $10, essentially a double bottom, and then we had the high, higher low, higher high. So we're back in a daily uptrend, and we're still currently maintaining and holding that uptrend, and closed the day back above EMA 12. We hit a low of 15 cents today, and it looks like we have here a cup and handle. Just draw this out. So we're right on that 0.382 fib. So if we see this cup and handle type pattern from the low to the high, we could see some continuation. And based on the reviews and these products, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a significant move. We're seeing increasing bull volume here, but we are fading a little bit from a few weeks ago, a little over a month now, a couple months ago, back in the beginning of the end of January. And we had that nasty reversal and came down, touched the EMAs, and we are potentially topping out, double top here at 18 cents. So I had a couple people in the group asking if they should buy it. And today and yesterday were good buying opportunities after we had those daily inside bars that broke bearish. So I would encourage you to look into this company. It's personally a YOLO play. I'm holding it. You can see there's not very much volume on the hourly. We'll take a look at the daily volume. So in terms of today's volume, we didn't quite hit the 20 period moving average, but we got volume at 1.68 million. So we will times that by, say, 15 to be conservative. So about $250,000 traded today. So again, if you're going to be day trading or, in and out of a trade, generally you want to see at least $1 million in trading volume in a day. This isn't something I recommend day trading or, having a quick flip in, because it's more of a long-term hold. There's not a whole lot of liquidity, especially on those shorter term time frames, but I like it here. We're in a daily uptrend. We have support here at 14 cents. We also have EMA 26 at 14.5. And we're in a daily uptrend while SPY is in a daily downtrend. So very notable. And we are above the 10-week moving average. The MACD and the stochastic are trending higher in a hurry, and they are going parabolic. Look at that, how vertical the 10-week moving average is here on the weekly chart. Taking a look at the moving averages, so we are now above the 50 and the 100 weekly moving average, and we came down after getting above the 100, came back down, tested the 50 weekly, confirmed support, now regained the 100. It's looking good. And on the daily time frame, we had a golden cross. We had the 100 crossing through the 200, and the MACD started to curl, but still bullish at this point, and held very well in the face of market weakness. I was very impressed with the love bulls. Love to see it, but holding the 20 period daily moving average as well, and that was sitting at 15 cents, which we didn't break, and we saw a little bit of a lower wick, and bulls bought the dip pretty much across the board. It was a pretty impressive dip. I remember calling it out in our group. A lot of people were just, on edge and wondering if they should be selling. And I talked a little bit about the psychology of how you should be approaching trades. And this, when we're extended here, when we're daily overbought, this is when you typically want, again, this isn't financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, but this is what I would be doing as somebody who's been investing for, 10 years. I've been trading for over 5 years, and I was scaling out here into strength after knowing that we've run hundreds of percent on CGC and HEXO. We run hundreds and hundreds of percent. So when we were getting here to these extreme levels at 782, sold a little bit, we held EMA 12, sold a little bit when we got above $8, sold a little bit above 9, sold a little bit above 10. And then just averaging back in slowly. And I've still got about 50% cash in my stock portfolio. And I don't plan on entering unless we see a break of the low here. So I've got a fairly large position now in HEXO going into earnings. They have earnings on March 18th, and I'm just using my profits. But again, everybody's situation is different, and I'm just slowly scaling in, not getting too aggressive. We could see the dollar, all eyes on the dollar. I did a broader market video and live stream earlier. You can check that out. But essentially, the US dollar is changing the weekly trend. And we'll just take a quick peek at it, actually, because that is going to be extremely important how that closes the candle. We've got 7 minutes and 50 seconds left. So by the time we're done of this stream, we will see the close of DXY. So I'll check back on that in a second. But if we can close above 91.86 on EMA 26, that is going to be huge. Generally, one would think if the US dollar is trending higher, that people would be potentially looking to sell some stocks in anticipation of a little bit of a market correction. So daily uptrend, so we'll check back in on that in just a second. On the bull and bear list, we had High Tide, PWR, RIB, APHA, and TGOD on the bull list, XLY. So I bought some TGOD today. On the dip, I bought quite a few things today on the dip. I bought HEXO. I bought SNDL. SNDL had a nice play today. So we lost 110 support. We were testing $1 psychological. And I bet you a lot of traders got faked out, myself included. I entered at $1 with a stop just below $1. I got faked out, stopped. But then I zoomed into the hourly chart, and I saw that there was a small level at 93. So what was the low of the day today? 93. So as soon as we held that and SPY entered into a 5-minute uptrend, I saw enough. I think I filled at like 97 cents after getting stopped out, set my stop below 93, and then I pretty much instantly sold into profit, and then I was lowered my cost basis, was sitting comfortably. But we haven't consolidated here on the hourly from that low. So once we do top out here, we'll look to form an hourly high or low, but bulls are pleased with the size of this bounce, as it does give them quite a bit of room to form a higher low and change that hourly trend. If we change the hourly trend, then the daily high or lows are set, the daily lows are set, and we can potentially have a temporary bottom here, and we can be looking for potential lower highs on the daily. But we have resistance up at 153, and then another level at 164, but then nothing after that really until all the way up at 396. So under $1 after just being at almost $4, that's over 300% of a move. It says we have earnings on March 17th. So the day before HEXO. We'll see if there's any truth to that. We also have US MSOs reporting here later this month as well. So it's going to be an interesting month. And CGC, nice dip buying all around. But SNDL had about a 20% bounce there from the low of the day. Like I said, bought some TGOD today. We even broke the high of yesterday. And again, very limited resistance here on TGOD up to the recent highs, about 100% from the low. Increasing bull volume. We've got earnings March 9th. Just on Tuesday, according to TradingView. And we had a golden cross lining up on TGOD as well. So we are at 343 on the 200 and 343 on the 50. We are crossing. We just haven't crossed yet. We're literally at the crossroad here. But we need to get above and see that follow through the golden cross. And like I said, very limited resistance I like this play with a stop below 28. That's what I'm playing off of on my entry today. Hit a low of 30. And a potential buyout target as well, in my opinion. So the dollar's still hanging in there. Got 3 minutes left. And we're starting to see a little bit of an upper wick there, but we'll see if we close over EMA 26. So we'll take a look at the US sector. So NBEV, Truel, Cura down, leading the decline. And on the bull list, we had, what's going on here? MJNA, Acreage, BAM. So BAM had a nice bounce as well. That was another one I bought the dip on today. 55 cents. Closed the day at 68. So just from the low of the day to the close, we're up to over 25%. So again, these moves happen hard and fast. They happen fast to the downside, but they happen fast to the upside as well. Huge move there, 20%, 10% on most names from the low of the day. Bought some MSOS today as well, playing off $40 support. And need to change those hourly trends. Just like everybody else, need to confirm hourly uptrends to be confident that the daily bottoms are in. But we are seeing increasing bear volume. Today we had pretty big lower wick, but we could even be crossing here bearish on these EMAs. So be ready for potential downside. We have a gap down here around 38. So if we see SPY lose its weekly support next week, it's increasing the odds that that could possibly happen now that DXY in about 1 minute and 45 seconds here. So the stronger of a close on the dollar, the more we would expect potential downside on the market and the broader market, which would in turn obviously introduce selling pressure on MSOS. But for the most part, everybody's the same story. We need to confirm hourly trend changes. So nice hourly bounces. We've run 10, 20% on some names, and bulls are pleased with that because that gives us the opportunity, once we top out, to set a higher low compared to the recent low, break to a higher high. Then we have that higher low and higher high pattern, which would give us the hourly uptrend. And that would be giving us that confirmation of the daily bottoms being set. Then we'll look up to daily lower highs as the most likely scenario, as we have pulled back significantly from the recent highs. And we are in a daily downtrend on most names. So all about the hourly uptrends, and then we'll look to daily uptrends being confirmed, but already pulling back about 27%. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, now would be the time to ask. I'm just gonna have a drink of water here. Did a live stream before this, so bear with me here 1 sec. Yeah, it was a nice bounce today, absolutely. But again, it was a bit of a falling knife, and if you were averaging in or averaging down, whatever you want to call it, it's very easy to average in too quickly, and the market can stay irrational a lot longer than we can stay solvent. So today was an example of that, where I know a lot of people had, they were wondering, maybe they entered too soon, and usually the rule of thumb is if you're wondering whether or not you should sell, you probably went a little bit too heavy, right? So like I said, I had about 70% cash in my stock portfolio yesterday. Now I've got about 50% cash and about 15% short SPY and QQQ. So if the market did roll over, my short account would be hedging any losses on my longs, and I would still have plenty of dry powder to buy the dip. And like I said, we could see Safe Banking Act at some point. We also noticed that the financial sector today was absolutely on fire. It's been on fire for the last few weeks, and I was just thinking about that today. If you recall back from the lows in March, the cannabis sector had been heavily correlated to the financial sector. So if we're starting to see some significant strength in XLF, and these correlations start to pick back up, I'm just starting to try and put two and two together. And if they were correlated in the past and the financial sector is super strong right now, I wonder if it's positioning, because if we see uplisting to major exchanges, that's going to allow banks able and access to play in the cannabis space on U.S. major listed exchanges. So there'll be a ton of hedge funds and institutions and big whales and that will be able to get in on the U.S. cannabis stocks, and they'll be able to make money, right? So they'll be able to. That's why I think that the financial sector right now could be potentially seeing a lot of strength relative to the SPY, is because maybe we know that Safe Banking Act bill is being circulated and it could be heading to the Senate. We'll see, but it could be introduced as soon as later in a couple of weeks or later this month. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But like I said, because of the strength in XLF and the benefit of that the financial sector would have from uplisting and through that cannabis reform through the Safe Banking Act, I think we could potentially see, again, not 100% guaranteed, and I'm not saying it, I believe to 100% it's going to happen. I'm not sure, but I'm just keeping that in the back of my head. If we start to see correlations pick up with XLF and MJ, that's something I'm going to be watching out for. But again, just keep an eye on the financial sector. It's showing a lot of strength, and again, they would stand to benefit a lot, in my opinion, if marijuana was, no longer a Schedule I drug and access to major exchanges on the NYSE, the NASDAQ, etc. Average cost about $7.25. You must mean Canadian, right? Very excited for HEXO earnings. Looks like people bought the dip, holding since 69 cents pre-split with 42. Wow, that's a long hold and a great fill price. So congratulations. Holding for 30 like you in my no-touch portfolio. Thanks for the live educational vids. You're welcome. I hold BMO and sold NA for a profit to throw in HEXO. Absolutely. Well, you wanna buy low and sell high, and if you're profitable on a certain trade, then yeah, that's something I do a lot. One example of that is Hive. It's a blockchain stock. I entered that back at around $2-3, and I started to scale out and started to look at other opportunities around $6 and the $7 mark, because I knew it was overextended. It was going to inevitably pull back and move on to the next opportunity, right? All-time high today. That's awesome. I didn't notice that. 7.25 Canadian. Yeah, that's not a bad price at all. I mean, 7.25 pre-split. It's still under a couple bucks. We were at. And if that's the Canadian one, we were at, I think, $12 before, or $11. So we'll say $11 just to be safe, but $1.80 or $11 divided by $1.80, that's still over 600% away. Holding since 50 cents pre-split. HEXO is going to smash earnings, call options locked and loaded until 2022. Yeah, I seen some numbers today from OCS, or sorry, yeah, some of the OCS and the beverages. There was a lot of HEXO vapes that were sold. I think they were number one in vapes, and I think there was a lot of. It accounted for a lot. I think it was like close to 20% of the sales, and yeah, HEXO was number one on the list there. I think they were a little behind Canopy, but in terms of number one drink sold at the till, it's probably mostly HEXO. Like I said, they were leading that category. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Those numbers weren't that great. Like I would have liked to see the drinks a little bit higher volume sold in terms of items sold, but I mean, it's still a new category. And Sebastian St. Louis, the CEO of HEXO, said that he believes that the category could grow to 3 to 5% of the total adult use recreational sales, and based on those numbers, they're sitting at about between 1 and 2%, which he alluded to before in a conference that they believe they're already closer to 2%, and those numbers supported that today. So be interesting to see what other other provinces report in terms of cannabis infused beverages, concentrates, topicals, etc. But I think they're going to do really well during earnings. And like I said, if we have the market start to correct a little bit here leading up to that, and we get possible stimulus coming out, yeah, we could see if we get any updates in the safe banking. So if we get a potential, even the fact that it might be just moving through parts of Congress may spark a little bit of hype in the sector. And if that were to happen mid-month or somewhere around there, like we've been hearing rumors about, and we just saw Chuck Schumer saying a couple of weeks ago that was his number one priority, or not number one, but one of his top priorities was to get that passed. And it's been a couple of weeks. And like I said, there was some pretty credible people on Twitter who were saying that they heard rumors. And again, I don't normally follow rumors unless it's by somebody that I trust and that I've been following, and they've been known to be right, 99% of the time. So I'm following that. So if we see any safe banking, narrative, or if we see stimulus, and if we see this market weakness subside into next week and the week after, if we start to see a little bit more red this next week coming, that's ideally what I'd like to see. And then the week after we bounce, and then that would allow favorable conditions for HEXO if they do beat on earnings. And again, if we see banking act right around then, that could have a huge impact as well. Will beverages for HEXO be in the 35% market share range? She must mean in terms of like all the LPs. I would think so. I would say they'd probably. I personally only buy HEXO drinks. I don't know about you guys, but the odd time I'll buy Canopy, but they're still relatively new, right? So I still know a lot of people that haven't even tried Canopy's drinks, but most people have now. But I think by the summertime, you're going to see a lot more traction and just in terms of sales and overall awareness of HEXO's drinks. But I would say 35% sounds about right. Maybe even 40. Impressive answer. I'm not sure which one. I'm a little confused now which one you were talking about, but thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad it was helpful. Thanks, Clorox. I appreciate it. Not my first rodeo, that's for sure. I just imagine if they can get the Asia like Japan vending machine would be a dream. Yeah, that might be a while away yet, but yeah, one can dream for sure. All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up there. It's Friday. I'm gonna go get me some HEXO drinks. I don't know about you guys, but chill out, have a molo. It's Friday. I'm pretty exhausted. I'm going to be doing some more work on the courses this weekend, and saw that a couple people signed up for that yesterday. So if you go over to powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, you can check us out for a free trial. Those are going to the end of the month. And like I said, check out the Academy page. There's a getting started course that I'm working on. I'll have a couple courses later as well. A little bit more for beginner, a little bit more advanced for beginners, and then advanced ones for more experienced traders. But the getting started training will cover quite a bit. There's a curriculum on there, and you can enroll for free. It will be limited seating, so go ahead, check that out, and take a peek at the curriculum. See if it's something that you'd be interested in joining. It's going to be really cool, and I'm excited to see the feedback that people have about it. I'm going to try to make it as interactive as I can. And my goal is to just teach you guys in record time what took me years to learn, right? Like even in this day and age with the internet and the speed of information and access to information, it still took me a really long time. Like even following a lot of channels, I just felt like they withhold a lot of information so that you always keep coming back, so to speak. They don't want to tell you all their secrets, right? But I'm not about that at all. I lay it all out on the line, and I'll teach you guys everything I know. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be teaching me some stuff, and that'd be pretty cool. I'd be completely okay with that. There's lots of people in the group already that they joined, and they considered themselves fairly new and not that experienced, and I'm learning stuff from them all the time. So it goes both ways. Everybody has their strong suits and strengths and weaknesses. I have my weaknesses. I have my strengths. I know what works for me. Everything that I do doesn't mean it's going to work for you as well, verbatim. But again, it's just about figuring out your own personal flow and what works for you, what you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy it, why bother doing it, right? So I enjoy what I do, and it's been fun. I love interacting with all of you. It's pretty good community, pretty impressive group that we have so far, and I'm grateful. Looking forward to the weekend, though. You started talking HEXO drinks before you read the questions, like we were on the same wavelength. Yeah. I got disconnected. Sorry, what do you think about growth stocks in the next 6 months? Will they rebound, or will cash flows go into some more established companies? Well, the dollar right now, so thanks for reminding me. The dollar just closed at 91.98. We closed above EMA 26. We're now in a weekly uptrend. I'm a little cautious of recovery stocks and just stocks in general, because this is the first time the US dollar has entered into a weekly uptrend since the world ended a year ago. And that's a significant momentum shift. The last time the stock market fell 10% here, we bounced, but we just ultimately faded back into a lower low, and it was nothing to see here. And then there was a lot more downside and a lot more upside in stocks. But now we're having a weekly uptrend, and we're in a daily uptrend. We're now in a daily and a weekly uptrend on the US dollar. So now we have to change the monthly trend to an uptrend, and then it's game on, right? It could be trouble for the stock market. We could see a significant correction. Watch for articles, watch for fear. I saw today that there was potential the White House might be cracking down on big tech. There's more legislation and potential laws coming out surrounding that. There was some talks about Microsoft's SolarWinds hack being more vulnerable and more concerning than originally thought. So just watch out. There could be some pretty dark things go down if this does go the way that I think it's going. I'm just waiting for a crazy headline or something like that that's gonna spike fear, because now we have people's attention, right? The dollar has changed the weekly trend. Now people are watching, and now that they have people's attention, just watch out. We're starting to see more and more fear related articles about inflation and the bond curve, the treasury yield curves. So they're trying everything they can, but again, unless we lose the weekly uptrend on SPY, we're not completely convinced yet. But weekly uptrend on DXY, step number one. And then if the S&P 500 loses the weekly uptrend, then bears have really proven it, and I will be exiting most of my short-term swing positions if that were to occur. So hopefully that helps. Have a good one as well. Green days ahead, you bet. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. So we'll see you next week, all recharged, ready to go. And yeah, once again, thanks for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's been a journey, and looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care, everybody.